Hi all, good morning. I wanted to share this new Meeden palette, which will be my 2024 palette for classes and YouTube videos. So this is a 33 well plastic palette with a removable tray. It is under $20 and comes in a few different colors, and you can find it on Amazon and other art retailers. I'll be using this 33 well palette to fill in my 18 favorite colors from the Daniel Smith watercolor line. I'm going to do that by filling in every other row, and leaving every other row empty will give me little mixing wells. This first column is made up of 6 colors, which I nicknamed my smooth mixers. Hansa Yellow Light is a semi-transparent, non-granulating, beautiful bright yellow. Quinacridone Sienna is a low to no granulation, so very low granulating, transparent, beautiful bright orange. Quinacridone Red is a transparent, non-granulating, kind of like a strawberry red. It's a beautiful mixer with all the other colors on my 18 color palette. This is Quinacridone Magenta, transparent, non-granulating. And then we have Phthalo Turquoise, and this is just a showstopper of a color, such a beautiful blender. It makes the most vibrant greens and beautiful grays. And then my cool blue, which is the Phthalo Blue Red shade, which is also transparent and non-granulating. I've nicknamed these my smooth mixers because they mix well with every other color on my palette. These are staining colors and very transparent, so they work wonderful with watercolor pouring and very wet application, as well as glazing. This next column is going to be the granulating cousins of the first column. So they're going to be similar in color, but altogether different, not quite as staining. They're going to be more earthy and granulating. They mix beautifully with the first column. So the very first color I filled is Raw Sienna Light, and it is my favorite color in the yellow family of the Daniel Smith line. It is very low granulating, and it is semi-transparent. It has a low mixing strength, so I often recommend buying 2 tubes of it because you'll just go through it a little bit faster. Now, I skipped the next color on my palette because I was out of it, but this color here is Enviro-Friendly Brown Iron Oxide. It is a semi-transparent brown that is hyper-granulating. It is also part of the Enviro-Friendly line of colors by Daniel Smith, and in the description box I'll put a link of a color study video I did about them that goes into the wonderful story behind those colors. This next color is Rose of Ultramarine. This is a transparent color. It is granulating, and it is another color that I call it color separation. So both the Enviro-Friendly Brown Iron Oxide and this color, the Rose of Ultramarine, have a color separation that happens, meaning that when you paint with them, if you use them in watered down areas, then the colors will have the separation that occurs. The Enviro-Friendly Brown Iron Oxide has kind of a burnt umber color that pulls away from a peachy brown color, and the Rose of Ultramarine has the violet color that'll pull away from a blue. So meaning that the colors have this little battle as they dry, and they will separate. Just beautiful. Now, here's a little trick when you're filling your palette. I take a piece of paper and I fold it, and then I press it down and pull it against the edge, and that will help push the paint down into the well a little bit flatter. I don't know, it also has an aesthetic, but it's that way it's not so clumpy or it doesn't stick up above the well. Some popular colors that have color separation would be the Moon Glow or the Cascade Green. Both of those colors, which are very popular and there's a lot of videos on them, also have that color separation where, you know, more than the colors when they're painted out will kind of pull apart and create some really neat effects. I love it. Let me know if you'd like me to do a video on that. This next color is my favorite green in the Daniel Smith line, which is Prussian green. Now I know there are a lot of videos and people that speak against this color, that it's not light fast, but the thing that surprises me is that these people are hanging their color swatches or their paintings in the direct sun. And watercolors, I would never do that. And if I was placing a painting or framing a painting, I use UV protecting glass. I often also will use a cold wax medium to seal any paintings that have any light fast issues. So it's not a concern of mine. And Prussian green is a beautiful semi-transparent granulating green that I am in love with, so it will stay on my palette. The last color was French Ultramarine, a granulating transparent blue that is a magic color, even in its lightest wash. It still has this color pop that just fascinates me. I love using it in shadows, and almost all of my paintings will have some place where I've touched it with French Ultramarine. Now, the color that I skipped on this palette is the transparent Red Oxide. I'm going to go ahead and use my Enviro-Friendly transparent Red Oxide to fill my palette for now. It's a great substitute, but my go-to is the regular transparent Red Oxide, which is transparent and granulating. This final column I call the magic mixers. And these are colors that while I could mix them with my first two columns and get a similar color, I can't get a similar effect. So each of these magic mixers has some quality that I think is magical. And so I love them for special effects. This first color is Bronzite Genuine, which is from the Primatech line. It is transparent and granulating, and it has a bit of sparkle, so it reminds me of our sandy beaches. This next color is Lunar Earth, another transparent granulating color that has hypergranulation. It is like no other, but when you apply it thick, it is actually very opaque, interestingly enough, and it will crack. I know, right? So cool. So if you paint with Lunar Earth in a thicker application, the way that it granulates mimics cracking clay. Awesome. This next one is Sepia, which is semi-transparent and granulating. It has a unique granulation pattern. So as it dries, the way the sediment settles into the hills and valley, the texture of your paper, it almost looks peppery. Now, Payne's Gray is granulating and semi-transparent, and it is a wonderful color to mix with the others to get interesting shadow colors with high granulation. Lunar Blue, semi-transparent and granulating, beautiful for clouds. It has that color separation we talked about earlier. And this last color is Kyanite Genuine, which is a transparent granulating color. It is this awesome blue-gray color that has a little bit of sparkle to it. And I just love it for stormy skies. So we have our first column of smooth mixers, our second column of granulating cousins, and then our third column of magical mixers. All of the empty wells will serve as little mixing wells for me, and I still have the full tray to the left and the pull-out tray for additional mixing. Really cool. This video was made due to a member request. So one of my channel members requested that I make a video. They wanted to know how I filled up my palette, so I thought it was a great time to get a new one, and I really like this Meeden 33 well palette with all the extra little mixing wells. I'm excited to have gotten to share this video with you. This palette also closes up tight, where even if the dried colors come loose, they won't get all mixed up in the palette. So I really like that as well. So I'll leave this out to dry for a day, and then it'll be ready to take on the road. On this little color swatch cheat sheet, it also shares some colors that get along really well. So as you look at the ones that are connected, those are hints of really special mixes to try out. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this color swatch sheet in the community section. Another fun tip is that the colors going across in the rows all mix well together, and the colors that are in columns all mix well together. So a lot of thought went into choosing these 18 colors. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, everybody.